Bill, third reading.
I now call on members' order of the day number 1.
Minimum Wage Contractor Remuneration Amendment Bill, committee stage.
I declare the House and Committee for consideration of the Minimum Wage Contractors Remuneration Amendment Bill. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker.
Mr Chairman. Welcome, David.
Members, the House and Committee on the Minimum Wage Contractor Remuneration Amendment Bill.
Mr Chairman.
And the question is that Clause 1 stand part. The Honourable David Parker.
Mr Chairman, may I seek leave for the House to take all questions in a debate across all clauses, schedules and introductory parts as one debate? Yes, and vote on the clauses separately. Thank you. Yep.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
That's your question.
Then the question is that clauses 1 to 14 and the schedule stand part.
Mr Chairman.
The Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. If I might just make a few introductory comments, and thanks. I wasn't able to be present at the second reading when this passed through a 5-party coalition, including the Labour Party, the Greens, New Zealand First, the Maori Party and the Honourable Peter Dunn. Sir, this bill seeks to close a loophole that exists in New Zealand law, but not in a number of overseas jurisdictions. And that loophole is that in New Zealand, it is possible for someone to employ the labour of someone working in New Zealand for less than the minimum wage. And that's because in New Zealand, the minimum wage applies only to employment relationships, whereas in some overseas countries, like the United Kingdom, it applies to work rather than employees. Sir, the loophole's also been closed in countries like Canada, although there they've used a dependent contractor alternative. Sir, I think that many people in this House know that there are some problems faced by the people who are at the bottom end of the employment market. They are powerless. They are feeling the sharp end of the fact that the percentage of the New Zealand economy, and indeed a lot of Western economies, the percentage of the economy that is going to labour is decreasing, and the percentage of the economy that is going to capital is increasing. They are the people who suffer most, the increasing gap between high earners and low earners, because they can be paid less than the minimum wage. They are being exploited. This bill is not a universal panacea. It does not give those vulnerable people holiday pay. They still won't get their ACC levies paid. They won't get sick pay. They won't get their tax deducted. They won't have remedies through the Employment Relations Court for unfair treatment, and they won't get double time and things like that on holidays, statutory holidays. But they will at least get the minimum wage. I'm sure that there'll be other questions that arise during this that I'm very happy to answer. But, sir, the underlying thesis of this bill is that it is wrong that someone in New Zealand who is working should be able to be paid less than the minimum wage. I don't see it as controversial. Sir, can I just talk one thing about process? Can I thank the Select Committee members? I was given a very courteous hearing at the Transport and Industrial Select Committee. I could see that the issue taxed some people and interested them. Can I say of Andrew Bailey, I could see Andrew Bailey thinking through the consequences of what it's like and how it's wrong that we can create incentives for unscrupulous employers who are paying less than the equivalent of the minimum wage to be able to undercut people who don't embark on that unscrupulous behaviour. In the end, I couldn't get Andrew Bailey across the line, but I was grateful for the consideration that he gave it. Sir, right at the end of the process, after we had actually had 8 drafts of this legislation considered by the Select Committee as a consequence of drafting that had been done at the request of the committee by the Parliamentary Council Office, they had responded to issues that had been raised by the Select Committee following hearing submissions in an effort to make this bill narrower so that it didn't catch people who weren't close to paying people in contractual relationships the minimum wage, so that we just really narrowed it down to the most vulnerable in society. Sadly, in the same week that the Minister of Labour castigated Labour members for not cooperating on the Easter trading bill to vote up amendments that were needed to that legislation, even if we were opposed to it, the National Party members on the committee then did exactly that. Rather than voting in favour of amendments that made the bill better, which is what we're meant to do at Select Committee, even if we're going to vote the bill down, they voted the amendments down that a lot of work had gone into. Now, all of those amendments are before the House in the lengthy supplementary order paper, or the lengthier of the two supplementary order papers that are on the floor of the House in my name. I have, sir, also prepared a track change version of that bill, which I will now seek leave to table as assistance to the members, sir, if I could seek leave to table this.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there an objection? There is no objection. It can be tabled.
Thank you, sir. I have copies of a track change version, which is, I hope will assist members, sometimes ministers do this, to show the effect of the supplementary order paper in the track changes. Members will see that it is, Mr.
Honourable
Chairman,
David Parker.
Members will see that it is in fact a document that has been drafted by PCO, which shows those track changes which were before us at Select Committee, and that's the effect of the SOP. There are a couple of changes to that form, which I have marked in handwriting, and I'm happy to answer questions. I did it in handwriting so that people could be able to follow those changes that have been made, sir. So there is another supplementary order paper which is in shorter form, which I anticipate some questions on as well, sir. I look forward to this debate. I think it is an important issue. This bill is either going to go up or down by one vote if the earlier votes on this bill are any guide. Whether it goes up or down, I hope I have highlighted an ill in New Zealand, which I think is the rising exploitation of vulnerable people in New Zealand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to call Clayton Mitchell.